This finals has started. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted going on my little story. We're actually 40 seconds in, but nothing crazy happening. It's TY, yeah, Red Terran play on the top left-hand side of the map. He is our Terran Hope right here, as he did not win last time the Kung Fu Cup was on, but maybe he can win this time. As in the bottom right-hand side, our blue Protoss player is Hurricane, as you go into game 1 of this best of 5. Submarine, our map, nice short map. We'll see what exactly is going to come up here from Hurricane as we get this started, we get this underway, and we look to see what will happen with this probe. Heading on up to the top left-hand side. Going to move on in here and just going to be seeing, well, a full wall off. So TY already playing some mind games in the PvT, which is something that he loves to do, right? He really does love to mind game us out a little bit. I say all of the time, but a lot of the time he does like to play different tricky builds, and especially in a longer series, definitely makes sense as well. This one goes up on YouTube, and hello to the YouTube viewers as well. Just want to say hi to you guys. I feel like we might not have said hi to you for a couple of days, so hello, thanks for watching. Of course, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you don't already and you like what you hear and you want to watch more of it. As at the time of casting this, we are about 400 to 500 subscribers away from 30,000, so hell yeah, we're going to make it. We had a little bit of a spike in subs the last couple of days. Thank you so much for everyone who has been subscribing. Trooper of TY is out the front of the natural, having a little patrol as the SCV of TY pulling back to the top left side. Stargate of Hurricane into the main base. As the warp gate gets going, just going to be seeing the Adept on the way out. So a couple of Adepts early, and obviously really just focus on getting this Stargate up nice and quickly then, so Hurricane to open. Potentially, I mean, Phoenix, definitely a possibility. It's a small map, so Phoenix can help you deal with a lot of that early aggression that can come from a Protoss player, from a Terran player. Aggressively, they can do okay harassing, getting back home to help. I mean, an Oracle is always an option. If you want to be really crazy, a Void Ray can spice things up a lot in PvT right now. That would be the craziest opening of all, but he starts Oracle, he goes Phoenix. I led with Phoenix, that was the one I really wanted to believe in the most, and makes sense to me. Just a very safe way to open on a map that can be quite tricky to defend on, just because of the timings at which things can hit. And the Phoenix can help a lot with this, especially because a lot of the time on this map you get a tank push as a follow-up. Those Phoenix can make the difference in a tank push because they can really lift up and take the tanks out of the fight for a while. Especially in some of the early game tank pushes when there isn't a lot of anti-air, like there's not stim or anything. So, yeah, just I like the setup for Hurricane now. These two Hellions get in, and first Phoenix already has to use a lift. The Reaper goes in the main, hits the gateway though, so that's not going to do much damage. The Debs don't commit to their shades, as he's going to get a 4th probe kill already. Not a bad start. I mean, this Reaper in the main does get lifted in the end. If he hadn't have shot the gateway so much, he probably would have already had a probe. But hey, 4 work is nothing to be worried about anyway, as now we've got 4 Widow Mines in this medevac coming around the right side. Of course, the Phoenix are also like a catch-all sort of thing as well, where because your opponent opened with that wall off and you don't know what exactly happened early, it also means you can kind of play around it with the Phoenix. They really do cover all your bases, so it really helps a lot in that regard. I don't like that Hurricane's out on the map. He seems to think that this is it, aggression done, but now Widow Mines are dropping in. And that's one Widow Mine that's already going to be pulled away from. There's going to be a second Widow Mine pulled away from, and then you're basically got very limited mining here. I mean, meanwhile, the Phoenix across the map taking heavy damage, so yeah, they're getting a few worker kills, but nothing compared to the 14 probes that have already died. Yeah, I mean, you don't need me to explain to you guys. This was obviously not good for Hurricane in the slightest. Especially when you open Phoenix, you're really not designed to take damage, right? You know, you're giving up a stronger army in the mid-game already a little bit by going Phoenix and investing a lot into these Phoenix. It's a lot of gas. You got to build more than one. And so, you know, with these Phoenix, you know, you're kind of meant to keep these alive. You need to keep these alive, I'm going to say. And so he's going to keep them alive, but then he doesn't have a probe count. So how are you going to keep them alive when they're going to be the only thing in your army? Well, then you don't, and then the game is just, you know, kind of over anyway. So yeah, it's a little bit of a rough situation for Hurricane. Definitely has not played out the way he would have wanted it to. Okay, and an SCV kill here, SCV kill there is nice and all, but it's not really, again, adding up to being all that much, right? As Phoenix come in, I wouldn't mind lifted. I mean, that's nice, just a free kill. Gets a couple of SCVs again. I mean, doing the right thing from this point on, but you gotta be worried about like the 7-8 minute sort of timing from TY. When he's gonna show up, push that third base, and well, see what he can do after killing so many probes earlier in the game. First Colossus coming out, but we've already seen it before today even, where the first, the Colossi defensively against tanks are not always the best of units, so yeah, you gotta be careful. Here we go, pushing forward. And he loses one Phoenix already, and again, I think every Phoenix is gonna count for so much here. Marine continues down the bottom right side. A couple of units showing up. We'll get that Marine nice and quickly. And I was just looking for information as to why. And I don't think he wanted to push out too soon. I think he does want to push with Stim, etc. if he is going to make a push. But obviously has to wait a little while longer for that. Sorry, I was still in the Chinese observer's view. And apparently we lost his camera somehow, so apologies. I must have clicked off and then thought I was still following. Hence the dead space. Well, I mean, Army's about to show up on that third base. Phoenix aren't here to help against the siege tanks, so to me that's already an immediate problem. Because the tanks really are just problematic. And you already see the battery is going to be drained of pretty much all of its energy, so now you've got a super battery, and that's pretty much it. That's all you got. One Colossus, supported by a second Colossus in a moment. It's coming in from the top right of the screen. The Marines get in there and they depower the super battery. Well, the first Colossus goes down. Now he's going to drop the other Marines on top of this Colossus. Oh, well, the unit of reinforcements showing up. The tank survives, and yeah, beautiful play by TY. What a fight in the end. That was really cool. I mean, the Marines stepping forward seemed kind of dangerous, but it actually worked perfectly. Dropped onto that Colossus, made it work in the end. TY goes up 1-0 in the best of 5. All of this coming off the early game damage. Yeah, I mean, 7-8 minute push is always going to be scary when you kill 14 probes early in the game. I think maybe one of the most interesting maps out of the new maps. While you can say some of the others are very standard and kind of nice and good, this one is the one that's got a few question marks around it from my point of view. As in the top left side, our Red Terran player TY takes on the bottom right-hand side Blue Crawlers player Hurricane. Yeah, I mean, I look at this and, the 3 base is okay, whatever, but then these mineral patches make this third base a lot more awkward than it might originally seem. I mean, in theory, I think, like, you play PvZ on this map, right? And you get a wall off here, you take a third here, you wall there. If your opponent has to mine out these mineral patches, they can obviously make it weird, but I don't think that's an impossible setup to defend. But something like PvZ, when it involves Terran tanks over this mineral line, that immediately has me wondering kind of what the hell happens around that third base. How do you approach that? And excited to see a lot of longer games to start kind of figuring this map out a little bit, because I think this is one of the maps which will be probably the most difficult to figure out for a lot of the pro players. Probe nibbling that SCV as the pylon of Hurricane goes down on the natural engineering bay block to make this second game weird as well. So already we're 2 games deep, and TY's played 2 different kind of factory before expand build order openings. I like it. It keeps Hurricane in a little bit of a tough spot. Keeps him guessing a little bit as well. Sorry the production tab wasn't on for the first minute or so. I was very much so excited about looking around the map a little bit. I'm honestly a bit derpy today, aren't I? I know this. I say this a lot, I feel like. Way too often, maybe even, but I'm a little bit... you're making a few mistakes today. I apologize, guys. Alright, well, Factory is coming up. That's about to be done as the Stargate drops down from Hurricane. So Stargate is second game in a row. I mean, that's fine. Stargate's a pretty standard way to play. It's not like TY can super hard counter a Stargate. I mean, you could go like Cyclone Viking, but that's not a hard counter. You can still play around it. It's just that's the way you would like to open against a Stargate, but it's very rare you would just do that out of nowhere. It's not like you're like, oh my god, he's probably going to go Stargate again. I'm just going to Cyclone. It just doesn't make sense to, right? It doesn't make sense to take that risk versus just playing a more standard game that you can play out into a much more solid position. As our Adept comes around this left-hand side. Marine picking its way through the Assimilator. There's a couple of Hellions here picking away at the Zealot, so the Zealot taking some shots of damage. SCV gets to the natural, Assimilator up in the main. Nexus down from Hurricane in that natural as well. It's just going to see the gateway coming in at the front, and a couple of Hellions make their way out down to the bottom side of the map now. So Hellions out down to the south. What do they want to do? This gas deal was a little bit funky. I definitely think it puts TY into a bit of a weird spot, and he does end up on 2 racks. Hard to say if that was his initial plan, or if that's just a repercussion of being put on 1 gas. He just has extra minerals, so he puts an extra racks down and goes into a faster stim. I mean, to me, the build makes a lot of sense right now, so, you know, it still kind of syncs up, it still works out. So at the end of the day, whatever it was, no harm really done. I think TY is happy with where he is at for the moment. And yeah, we just see Robo Facility coming up beyond the Phoenix. So Phoenix once again early in the game. This time TY won't get aggressive into those Phoenix. They're not going to be out of position or anything, you know, because there's not going to be anything to be out of position against. What will be interesting is what the Phoenix can do against these fast Marines with a fast stim. You have to be really careful and really babysit the Phoenix if you're being aggressive with them. And you have to make sure you've got some way to deal with these Marines back at home. Otherwise, this game falls apart for you very quickly. So wouldn't mind burrowed up in that mineral line as Marines. Deflect the Phoenix away from the main base. Here in Bay of TY in the back of the natural expansion. The extra Marines still coming through. The Robo Bay starts up from Hurricane in the main base as well. Just gonna have these 3 Phoenix showing up there for a moment. The Marines are pretty quick to turn them around, saying, "No, get the hell out of here. You are not invited to this party." Phoenix wanted to go back to the top there. Will not find much opportunities to. Combat Shield +1 attack. All of this coming in. Command Center building from TY in the main base. And we do have the few Phoenix. They're going to make their way in once again through this top entry position. First SCV already. A couple of these Marines going down. Pretty good time cleaning up a lot of these Marines. Now the Phoenix will take their leave out through the top. So exiting through the top side, we're just going to be seeing a couple medevacs on the bottom of this. They're going to make their way into the main base. Looking for that drop in the next few moments. So looking ready to try and set this up. These few Marines all going to unload and maybe thinking about a stim into this natural expansion. Nothing on the third right now. Is just going to see other Phoenix coming around. Extended Thermal Lance already coming up. The extra barracks from TY about to finish in the main. +1 attack. Combat Shield all coming through. Everything looking pretty good. Cancel on that pylon right away. It's +1 attack, combat shield. All of this gets going. Extended Thermal Lance is still coming up as well. And this army of TY, a group of Marines, a couple of these medevacs. Gonna come around the left-hand side and try and figure out where he wants to take this. Command Center will land nice and easily. Alright, well, I mean, at the end of the day, this one's been a bit of a sit back and relax, chill out kind of game. And these Phoenix just going to keep presence on the map for Hurricane. And at this point, TY, well, okay, let's not sit back and relax. Don't sit back and relax that much, Hurricane. You need these Phoenix. Making his way to Colossi, and TY just says, cool, let's do that. I'm going to take 5 racks with a couple of Vikings on the way at a time. So that was a good siege tank count as well. +1 attack upgrade is done. There's not really anything to move across the map for just yet, I don't think. I think it's also a weird map. Like, I like the tank position here, but I don't think you've got enough to make use of it, like dropping over to this side just yet. I think that's still a bit flimsy at this stage of the game. So where do you really push? Down the bottom, then up this direction? And that takes a long time to get to. So I don't mind TUI taking a more passive approach. What I would like to see is next time he figures out where these Phoenix are, I'd love to see him drop around them. Because now he's about to see these Phoenix on this top side, right? So now he knows they are there. I'd love to see 2 medevacs load up and go to the bottom of the map. Because then you could maybe put some pressure on. Obviously, the scare of dropping right now is the fact that you're up against Phoenix, and if they find the medevacs ahead of time, they're going to be able to shut them down, and they're going to have a very good time with that. So that's definitely the start of the problem here. The medevacs are just going to continue to fall back. I mean, TY just happy to play a very defensive game. The thing is, TY will play long, super long, macro-focused games. He will play for the late game. It's something not a lot of Terran players will do. You know, he really will not. It really is something that TY will do that a lot of Terran players dislike doing. So yeah, I think he's very happy just to say, right, Ghost Academy, 4th Command Center. No pressure at all. That really does give Hurricane space to kind of set up into all of his own things. He's taking a 4th base on this far right side. That's crazy. Why is this happening? Why is he taking this over here? Just a mind game? Trying to make TY think he's still on 3 bases? I suppose. TY's going to go forward now. Obviously, he has a 4th base he can take behind this attack. I do really like the fact that we've got, obviously, Vikings and tanks in this. I like this sort of army comp. He's going to start adding in a few Marauders now as well as he moves away from relying thoroughly on tanks and Vikings. Accepting that there's going to be a point where there's just going to be a lot of splash in this Protoss army, and that Marauders going to be that little bit better at dealing with that. Man, this 4th base is actually working for Hurricane because TY, he doesn't know about it. He's not checking for it at all. He's checked the other 2 bases that should be a 4th. He sees no 4th, and he's like, well, cool, I'm up a base. Having a good time. Now he's going to find it, but now he's already pulled his army back home. He's missed his opportunity to deny this base, and TY will be upset about that because Hurricane has gotten away with something I don't think he could have really dealt with right then. Just buys him that extra time for extra splash, you know, storms, disruptors all to come into play. So let's get a blame for Viking, and I'm just going to see the BIOS coming down. Nice couple of storms. Just going to keep this army at bay. Hurricane's going to move around the right side. A huge amount of Zealots are going to hit that 4th base. Now, it does mean you're missing a huge amount of Zealots from this fight. So a lot of your tankiness that's just going to be disappeared. He sees that's a planetary forest, and he backs away immediately. I think TY realizes that that was quite a few Zealots, so he's going to respect it and move around the left side himself. These tanks took a little while to unsiege and move away, so they're actually going to get caught. But at this stage, I don't know how much TY is looking to really utilize siege tanks in the future anyway, right? Like, we'll see if he wants to rebuild any, but at this stage, you oftentimes play kind of Ghost Viking, and then obviously if you want something extra, usually into Libs. Lovely quad drop on the bottom side, going to force a recall. TY is going to take down the first disruptor that fires there, and he's going to leave. He actually gets a good amount of Stalkers, I guess. He is taking damage on this right side. He gets about 9 pro kills, and at the same time, he loses about 8 SCVs, so Zaki's going to lose 1 more SCV than he killed across the map. So it's actually a pretty okay trade for TY. Both players traded kind of inexpensive units of their army. Bio units really don't cost the Terran much right now. Easily replaceable, same as Zealots for the Protoss point of view. So they've both changed up in that direction. They both kind of made good trades there. A little bit of eco traded out. Kind of scary for Hurricane because it feels like that drop caught him completely off guard. And if one drop does that, what stops the other drops catching him completely off guard? So that's a cancel, and that's a ton of Zealots. The bio in a SimCity like this shouldn't really have issues. And with Tank Viking Ghost here, you can't really push in as Hurricane. Like, your tanky unit, your front line, is currently being chased away on the top of the map on its own, so you can't make that combined effort to actually get an attack going. With the disruptor showing up, as we'll see the army of TY. Gonna go around the right. The Zealot goes down. On the bottom side, we're going to see Marine picked off. Bio still pushing through for a moment or two. The other Zealots fall back to the right side as well. And just going to see TUI is going to get this Nexus on the bottom side. So he's able to get the cancel down there. Just going to see the Bio coming through. Just going to be seeing the Zealots going to be chased down as well. So the Zealots going to come through. The Stalkers behind this also. And just going to be seeing the cleanup for real. So no pressure from TUI. Thanks forward, medevac. One of them goes down, the other survives it. Disruptor shot does not hit much. TY is really just powering up. 2 more Ghost Academies. I like this. He's putting them all in the same place. It's going to be easy to see where the nukes come from. And observers, you know, a very happy time for observers, you know, because observers, as in like people who watch the games, who observe the games, we like to go and be a bit fancy on the nukes sometimes, you know. We like to be like, oh my god, the nuke's launched in the sky. Look how cool my observer is. TY making it easy for us. And we're going to see him taking this fight over here. Viking's going to get these Colossi. That's not a doubt in my mind. What I was wondering about was those Disruptors, and they took forever to actually take the fight. And there's only like 1 Storm left. And obviously most of the Disruptors fired. It's a nice Storm at least. He should be able to get that Archon. He's afraid of the Disruptors. There's a few more that showed up, so that changes this up a little bit, but it still feels like Hurricane is fighting a battle where he's really on the losing end at the moment. It doesn't feel like he's really winning out in many of these trades in the slightest from so far. You go with Zealot, Stalker up to the top side. On the bottom, a little Liberator play. Actually shot down by a cannon of all things. I mean, TY got to be a little afraid of these Disruptors because they keep on firing such choked up little areas. And TY losing a lot of SCVs here. 5th base again pushed back. Colossus shows up, which is actually kind of nice because these Vikings suddenly have a use again. They've not done anything for a while. First nuke lining up on the bottom side of the map. Cancel. I actually didn't see what happened there. I think he was in range of the cannon, so you had to cancel the nuke immediately to go and deal with it. DT's blinking and they get the base on the left side. It's an expensive base though. And there's a command center there to replace it very quickly, but it still keeps TY on around that 4 base economy. It's not letting him get to 5 bases. I'm worried for Hurricane because he's low on supply. I mean, his army supply is super low. He's going to lose this bottom base. So he's going to lose this for sure. I mean, Zealous CTs. Well, he's going to get a recall into this position. Maybe then there's some hope thanks to the, obviously, super battery, which will help out as well now. Okay, he's going to hold that. TY backs away. TY still got just Vikings and a few tanks set up over here, but now he's recalled that on. He should be able to make this happen elsewhere. Nuke lines up over on this right-hand side. So that's why he's going to rotate his own army toward. So he's going to bring his army out over here. Hurricane found it. Is that going to kill the cannon? It is. That's actually pretty nice, though. Gets rid of that little bit of detection there, and that makes further nukes on this base a little bit more possible. Gives you a little bit more kind of, you know, position to work around. Super battery on cooldown. As this Bio army shows up, can he get the pylon kill? He should be able to. Cancels the Zealot warp in. That's obviously big. Now he's going to be able to cancel the next warp in too, and this Nexus will fall. So TY gets a base killed, and he's finally establishing this topside 12 o'clock, and at the same time getting the 9 o'clock. So now TY is going to end up taking 2 of the bases, which he kind of needed for a little while now. And he's fighting on 2 sides of the map with these Bio armies. Well, you see the army coming in from the left side. That's one he has to dodge away from. Disruptor shot's not landing just yet. He'll finish this Nexus off, though. And then I think he'll go into full-on retreat mode. As on the bottom side, he did just end up backing away. Happy that he did enough here already with that fight. And TY is now taking a bank lead. Look at the bank TY has to work with, while Hurricane can't even max out still. He's going to start 2 more Colossi. In fairness, the Viking count only at 5, and also those 5 are, you know, battered, bruised, orange health bars across the board. They've got their pumpkin costumes on early. So, yeah, those Vikings need to get repaired up a little bit. And get ready to go as a wood of mine here gets found. It's a nice catch before it gets a random High Templar kill. DTs around the left-hand side. The Bio wants to come in a little bit. Couple of DTs getting picked off. Zealot's going to come forward. The DT's going to blink forward. Widowmine's coming through also. And just going to be having our army here of TY. Still hanging around this top side. Hurricane comes in. Stalkers, Disruptors. All the High Templar continuing to set up together. Stalker's going to get the command center up on the top, so able to take this down. I mean, that's a base going down, but I actually feel like it's maybe Hurricane that needs base a little bit more. TY has a bank to work with, which means that, you know, in theory, if you have a bank to work with, you don't actually need mine as much immediately. Like, yes, eventually that bank's going to disappear if you don't mind, but right now, TY can deal with losing a base better than Hurricane. Hurricane actually keeps that base alive. Can he keep this base alive? There was a lot of army headed towards this army. There's nothing heading down over here until the recall comes in. He's going to lose the disruptors, though. Big storm. Wow. The fact he had a storm there probably just saves that fight. He can drop in the main base. The Stalkers just used that blink. He could actually depower 5 gateways. If he notices that this pylon is powering everything, it would also stop the warp in, but he's not really paying attention to the drop. He's elsewhere, back at home, macroing up. TY gathering together and ready to go. Hurricane on that right-hand side. Bio going to unload in the main. Just going to be seeing the Stalkers blink in to fight that, but it's obviously not really that good of a trade. Now the Marauder's going to make a bid for the Colossus. Gets it. It's a nice pick off. The army over here, though, has to lift and leave, and Hurricane now has gotten through this difficult phase he was in, and he's now maxed out. I think TY's problem now is maybe he's a little bit disjointed with his armies. And it feels like he's got a bit of army here, there, and everywhere, and that doesn't really help him with this fight. He does get the High Templar from the back, though. This little squad of units just killed the Storms. No splash damage available at one Colossus. I think Hurricane's just won the fight on the top side anyway, though. I'm not sure if this Disruptor got a big kill. I was looking at the High Templar, so maybe the Disruptor got a big kill. It looks as though Hurricane's going to power on through and win the 20-minute game to tie us up 1-1. What can TY do? Just rely on these siege tanks. He's got a bit of money in the bank. The Vikings are going to start landing, but the Stalkers are just going to clean everything up. So TY will not get a chance to properly rebuild here, and that'll pretty much be it for game number 2. Then we're going to a game 3 with everything on the line. Both players still in real contention. TY might push this back, but there's a huge round of Zealots about to show up, and the Zealots should be the difference. He just needed something in the front to really tank here, and that's exactly what he's going to get. With the SCV count going down as well. I think TY maybe just a little bit reckless towards the last few moments. Like a lot of the drops, a lot of the armies. Hurricane was able to pick up a lot of good trades because of this. Was really able to make this a pretty good time. There, the SCVs killed everything here. I gotta say, I'm impressed that Hurricane. The thing is, I guess he lost this base, and at one point he lost this base, but once this base came back up, these bases never really got hit. And so he really just kept a good base economy going, and TY, yeah, he got that left side base up at least, which is something Hurricane didn't do anything about, but the top side base, that one obviously was shut down yet again. So Hurricane was able to establish bases and deny bases much better than TY was this game. That went a long way to helping out. Now, TY spent his bank, but now he's going to be struggling with a 50 worker deficit. Army supplies are even. If TY can take a really good fight, the only problem with that is you're generally going to end up falling back to positions where there's batteries, to eventually kill your opponent. You're going to have to go through batteries, etc. Now TY is going to lose this base on this side. GT's blinking. There's no hope for this planetary fortress, so that will go down. He gets 15 probes on the nuke. Okay, well, nuke lands. That's something at least as the DTs continue forward. They will finally go down, but the base is already killed on the left. TY trying to set up the forward base to keep some mining going his way. You know what? I will say this army of Hurricane is very zealot heavy. I mean, it's not as good as it has been previously. There's no disruptors. There's no storms. The only splashdown is 2 Colossi. Can TY win this fight? I want to say it's not impossible. Let's see. SCVs are going to repair the planetary. We've got 6 Vikings for the 2 Colossi. Now some disruptors start, and I think Hurricane realizes the position he's in and what he needs to do to keep this game going for himself now. A couple of these Zealots going down. The Vikings want to try and lead into that. There's a few Zealots going to go around the top. Problem is, can he just fight this much gateway forces as TY? That's going to be our question. Is currently the answer to that is yes. He absolutely can. He's pushing this back again. They'll show up here. The base just lifts off, evacuates, but then your natural's in trouble. TY is going to try and line up the nuke. The Stalker's playing forward here. Vikings going to get one of the claw side. The other one that remains alive is low. The nuke from the Cloak Ghost might actually land. Stalker's blink forward to get out of the nuke range. The nuke kills the Disruptor. Is TY going to do this just with enough army? He's got to deal with so many Zealot reinforcements, though, and that's the issue. The Zealots reinforcement are such a good reinforcement unit. We know that. We see it every day. DTs show up. The damage they will add is just a little bit painful for a few moments here. Blinking forward, Hurricane is now starting to control this a bit better. TY gets back to his own reinforcements. He keeps Hurricane on such a horrible army. 14 Stalkers, 5 DTs. That is not an army that can really fight here at all. That is not an army that can fight here at all. 2 Marauders of TY. Continuing down the bottom right, the Zealots and Stalkers going to get this, get these rocks maybe? TY just chasing another nuke in the bottom left. Hurricane, is he falling apart a little bit here? Probes going to go down. It's a lot of probes. Oh my god, he gets 15, 16 probes on this base again. I mean, Hurricane still has 65 workers. He still has this top right base. Undefended, though. If just a few units showed up there, I guess then the pylon warps in. But if they get there and kill the pylon, TY is just holding onto this base for dear life. DTs are going to show up here. At least this is an orbital that can just lift up and evacuate. I like this missile turret. I'm pre-warning about DTs that might show up. If these DTs go down, though, this is actually really bad for Hurricane if he loses all these DTs, because that's expensive. One scan, but now, I mean, now this army is out of position. Do you have a recall here? Yeah, you absolutely do. So TY can't really chase it. He maybe could have forced the recall, which would have been nice, but look at the income graph this game, by the way. Hurricane just dominating it, but look at the resources lost. By the way, Hurricane lost some more probes. Sorry, I was not watching. I was enthralled by these DTs. 8,000 resource loss difference. I mean, that's the majority of, like, this section of this graph, more or less. Hurricane still had leads before that, though, and that's why he still does stand at a bit of an advantage. Problem is, can he start taking better fights? Like, that's the real question, right? If he can start taking better fights, then this is okay. But if he doesn't start taking better fights, then it's still very winnable for TY. He kills off 2 observers there. Whoa, 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 the Vikings, where are you going? Oh, TY just gave up all of his Vikings for free. That wasn't meant to happen. Stalkers from the right, Zealots up the top. DT is going to want to come in from the left-hand side, apparently. The Bio Army goes into the right side. I mean, he's going to win this fight. Oh, well, is he? I mean, I was actually thinking this because I didn't really notice the Zealots, but he is going to win this fight. He's clearing up the harassment on the top side, and I think Hurricane's going to lose. Well, I mean, he kills the base, though. TY has, like, no mining. He at least keeps the 12 o'clock alive. He's got a couple disruptors that he's going to catch here. Oh, no. And TY knows there's another disruptor up here that he wants to kill. He knows she's not letting that get away. No, absolutely no chance. Now Hurricane's now TY, sorry, is going to strike into these bases. Disruptor, he needs to kill the Disruptor. Hurricane needs to fire the Disruptor or something or anything. How many orbitals do we still have? We still have the 3 orbitals, which means that the DTs and the scans are still somewhat handled well by TY, and I think TY has just done this. He actually, that fight, by the way, was what, 8,000 difference, and now it's a 13,000 difference. That's how much TY killed in that fight compared to what Hurricane got. Pylon goes down here, so no further reinforcements, and that's going to be it. Hurricane's going to lose more of this army. He's going to lose this base. GG is called, and TY takes the 2-0 lead in this best of 5. Wow. Game 3, and hence a match point for our Red Terran player on the top right-hand side of the map. It is TY. Bottom left, his problem was he couldn't get the composition right. He just didn't have the time ever to actually build up like the tech units once they got reset a couple times over. And because of that, his composition couldn't take the larger fights. It's Hurricane in the bottom left-hand side. TY opens Engineering Bay block here in game number 3. I can't even remember if he did that in game number 2, did he? I think he did do this in the last game as well. Alright, well. You can see our probe coming across the map here from Hurricane, as you do see our barracks from TY about to finish up. Engineering Bay is done in the natural. And just see now a pylon. Hurricane going to get a little bit aggressive against this engineering bay block in the early stages. I like it. I like it. I can get behind that. I don't mind this so much. Let's see, the Marine finds this right away, though, so it's pretty much... it's pretty sad to begin with, to be honest. So that's unfortunate, as the bunker's going to come down. Marine gets a couple shots on the probe. Shield battery is coming up, and I mean, if he gets this bunker up, does this game just end? What's on the way to protect this? Absolutely nothing. The one stalker coming from across the map. Okay, well, TY is going to give it up because the first shield battery gets up, but the investment he's already forcing is pretty cool. I guess Hurricane's plan here is to end up going Stargates. Sorry, not Stargates, Void Rays. I mean, that's the kind of proxy position it's in, right? There's not really much question about that. The thing is, seeing this so soon, TY, Cyclone, Macfield Accelerator, to me, this is like the perfect setup against us. Now, the Twilight Council already on the way from Hurricane. A couple options. A, DTs. Your opponent's on one base. If he doesn't have enough scans, DTs can be extremely annoying. B, the Blink. Now, the Blink is kind of fun because you kind of force your opponent to heavily defend against Voids, and that can mean the Stalkers can maybe come in and overwhelm on the ground, but this is not like a massive turrets or anything. This is Cyclones and Magfield, or it was, not anymore. He actually cancels Magfield. Because I actually don't know why. Why did he cancel Magfield? He feels like he doesn't need it? I would have loved to see Magfield. It is going to be a Dark Shrine, though. So actually, Magfield not as important. Magfield's just really good against Blink Stalkers. That's the extra strength of it. But no, he'd just rather have Widow Mines, apparently. So he's going to burrow the first one up. Maybe just because he realized there's no Oracle first. It was straight to a Void Ray. So he says, cool, now I can burrow up Widow Mines, and you're not going to be able to deal with those unless you fly in. And he's going to get the Widow Mines across the map as well with the Medivac. So looks like he's going to focus a lot on the counter-aggression. As, man, this Void Ray is taking a beating before it even gets started. Hurting a lot already. Cyclone getting a lock onto that Stalker. Just going to be seeing the Void Ray. Number 2 is on the way up. Again, that Dark Shrine about to complete. That's the one thing I don't think TY has really thought much about. He's building a second starport, so he really is overcommitting almost to the anti-air. I think he's expecting this to be like a Tempest follow-up, which is obviously absolutely not the case. Well, he is saving a scan at least for DTs. Then he'll have to drop the engineering bay down and go from there. Nice kill on the shield battery. I think you've got to realize that something is up, right? Like, something is not quite right just yet. Also got to ask how these DTs are going to get into the base, though. So you see the drop across the map. Widow Mine is going to burrow up. The Marines can unload, and ooh, those probes got all stacked up there for a second. Okay, well, there's a recall. As Widow Mine just unburrows, reburrows one more time. Maybe could have left it. Might have actually gotten the Void Ray. One probe goes down. TY leaves with everything alive, and right now he's making Hurricane look a little bit silly here in this game. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize he proxied the Robo. Here's me asking, how did the DTs get in? He actually proxied a Robo as well. It's right under my face. Fire the Warp Prism, Wardy. That is how. You can't go back in the Warp Prism because the... Oh, that's really bad. Can't go back in the Warp Prism because the Cyclone had the lock on. It was going to get the kill. Oh, okay. 2 DTs go down, but 1 survives. 1 is fine. That's very manageable. It just doesn't do enough damage in time to really matter. So you're 25 energy away. Engineering Bay coming up. Obviously, the Warp Prism going down just means that, hey, you know, cool. Whatever. Now you can't warp in more DTs into my base. Maybe you could get in here now because he's opened the door. But we are, what, 17 energy away? This 1 DT is annoying. Oh, but there's a Raven. Okay, well. Okay, cool. Raven pops out and the game ends. GG. TY is... And game actually does end. Thank you very much. I mean... This time I was right about the game ending because TY just dominated this defense. It was really, really good for him. Really safe, really solid, really secure. GG's, and TY is going to be able to take that 3-0 and win today's Kung Fu Cup over Hurricane.